battle to end all battles. If only it would actually happen. Yeah, but one can hope, right? No matter what side of the fandom you're on, you have to admit that it'd be great fun seeing both the Avengers and the Justice League in a battle. So strap in as we present our evidence as to why we think the Avengers would win. Enjoying our videos? Then why not hit the subscribe button to get more awesome videos like this every day. But first, can you guess the super movie based off of these emojis? Stay tuned to find out. Iron Man's brain. Both Marvel and DC have their respective billionaire leaders as part of their teams who've decided a life of fighting crime was more important than making tons of money. So, with the help of that money, they created a bunch of cool gadgets and decided to take the fight to the bad guys. But of the two, Iron Man and Batman, who would win in a battle of the body and the battle of the mind? It's a tough question, but let's go over some details. First off, Tony Stark built an arc reactor in a cave while being held hostage. Even if you're a genius, this is some next level stuff. He also became an expert in thermonuclear astrophysics in less than 24 hours. How does one even do that? We know Tony Stark is smart, but we think he never gets the chance to show just how smart he is.
Am I the only one who did the reading?
No wonder he rolls his eyes so often. Bruce Wayne may also be a genius, but next to those numbers, yeah, we're gonna give that point to Iron Man. In terms of powers, Iron Man is the easy victor. Bruce Wayne said it himself in the Justice League trailer when asked what his powers are. I'm rich. Tony Stark can fly, shoot energy out of his hands, while Batman's gadgets, they're cool. They largely consist of blades, ropes, various goggles, and martial arts skills. When face to face with Iron Man, the two would certainly be evenly matched, as Wayne's gadgets will likely threaten Iron Man's circuits, but a few energy blasts from Iron Man with the help of his targeting system should help take bats out of the fight. Vision is basically a robotic god. We all know the story of Vision by now, especially his MCU version. Created by Ultron but brought to life by the Avengers, Vision is one of the strongest beings on the team, and he's not even really alive. A synthetic human, he's actually part machine. With the help of the Mind Stone, Vision has been able to achieve a power level that vastly outweighs the rest of the teams. He's even deemed worthy enough to pick up Thor's hammer, so you know he's not playing around. The power of the Mind Stone would be enough to put many members of the Justice League in their place, and they would be powerless to do anything about it. It allows him to fly, have superhuman strength, phase through objects at will, and even shoot energy strong enough to damage vibranium. If anyone does take a shot at Vision, they'll find his body is actually also made up of vibranium, the most powerful metal in the Marvel Universe. It's the same material found in Captain America's shield, so you know it's quality stuff. Thanks to Jarvis, Tony Stark's former AI companion, Vision also knows just about everything in existence, and can also use that against the Justice League, whether it's emotional manipulation or tactical advantages. In short, Vision is one of the strongest beings in the universe, and would easily take out most of the Justice League in a fight, and even give Supes a run for his money. But even Scarlet Witch can put him down. There's still a member on the Avengers who can put Vision in his place, and that's saying something. She made her debut in 2015's Age of Ultron and has quickly become a powerhouse figure on the team, while still being a bit uncertain as to where she fits in, due to her insanely powerful magical abilities. We are, of course, talking about the Scarlet Witch. Seriously, she could just wave her fingers about and it's pretty much game over for the Justice League. It'd be really interesting to see her throw down with the Green Lantern Corps, as they utilize imagination as a form of magic. But Scarlet's magic transcends simply thinking of an object. She can create barriers, destructive energy blasts, and take control of a being's mind. All she'd have to do is bewitch the Man of Steel himself, and the League would be much too busy fighting off Superman to have time to deal with Scarlet Witch. Technically part of the X-Men universe in the comics, her powers grew to such a level that she became a Nexus being, someone who was literally the focal point of all energy on Earth. So it's safe to say that the Scarlet Witch, born Wanda Maximoff, can deal some serious damage to the Justice League should their two teams ever come to blows. Doctor Strange can literally mess with time. Let's say that the Justice League and the Avengers end up fighting, and the Justice League ends up mopping the floor with them. Captain America's out, Iron Man is broken, and Thor was rendered useless. Well, you get the idea. When push comes to shove, an alternative to fighting the Justice League mano a mano would be to get creative with the laws of space and time. And who better to do that than Doctor Strange? In his 2016 movie, we saw that Strange's final battle was more a battle of wits than traditional fisticuffs. It was a refreshing and clever scene that showcased how Strange can create a time loop and trap someone in that loop for infinity, should he so desire. All Strange would have to do in this situation would be to play with time and get the upper hand against the Justice League. His ability to slow down time, stop it, or rewind it would serve him excellently in battle, especially when he wants to erase any moments where the League gets the upper hand. On top of that, Doctor Strange does have magical abilities that he can make use of when he doesn't have access to the Time Stone, one of the 6 Infinity Stones. Creating portals around a battlefield would mean that he could drop Batman on the top of Mount Everest and just leave him there. Heck, he could leave just about all the members of the Justice League there. Strategy over brawn. Okay, let's not sugarcoat it. The Justice League is one heck of a strong team. Perhaps too strong. With the combined strength of Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, the Green Lantern, and Shazam, the League are extremely overpowered when faced against the Avengers. But the Avengers have one thing that the League largely doesn't have: strategic minds. While Supes and company are trying to bash the Avengers into oblivion, Team Marvel would be communicating via their handy Bluetooth headsets, looking for a weakness to exploit. They have sound tacticians on the team too, from Black Widow to Captain America. The team will coordinate and figure out just where and how to strike. The Avengers team is also growing rapidly as well, so the roster of people to give them a hand is vastly growing. If we were talking about 2012 Avengers compared to all the members who will be fighting in the Infinity War, things are certainly different. Under the guidance of the team leaders, the rest of the team would coordinate attacks on specific targets and find ways to pacify and render the League useless instead of blindly throwing attacks at the closest target. For example, the team would have a lot of trouble trying to catch the Flash, but working together, they could lure him to a certain person while Ant-Man waits to spring a trap that will be too tiny for the Flash to even notice. The League will be too focused on the present. The Avengers will be looking to the future. Experience. Experience trumps all, right? Well, in this case, most certainly. Think about it. How long have the respective members been around before joining the Justice League? Not that long in the grand scheme of things. Batman's been kicking butt for maybe a few decades now in the DCEU. Man of Steel is still pretty new at things, and the others are still kind of figuring out their powers, except for Wonder Woman, who's been dishing out the pain since the First World War, and possibly earlier than that. Overall, though, a pretty young team, who may not have the experience needed to take out a team like the Avengers, who have the literal god of thunder on their team, who's been alive for at least 100,000 years. Then there's the Vision, who has the collective data of the entire internet stored in his mind. Being a warrior who's gone to battle for a good portion of his 1,000-year life definitely gives one a certain advantage when it comes to fighting against others, and Thor definitely comes out on top in that department. Sure, the knowledge did make him arrogant, but he quickly learned to better himself. Vision, on the other hand, would just have to look at someone and understand everything there is to know about them based off of their movements, facial expressions, etc. Combine their forces, and these two powerful and experienced beings can find a way to overcome any odds. Support from the people and the Super Spies. A perk of being an Avenger is that people definitely know who you are. While Gotham City hunts for the vigilante known as Batman, and Metropolis is still reeling due to the cataclysmic showdown Superman had with General Zod, the Marvelverse seems to have it a lot easier when it comes to public perception. After the events of the Avengers, the vast majority of the civilian population recognized the team as heroes. S.H.I.E.L.D., the super spies that work for the government in the Marvel Universe, may have been compromised by Hydra, but that didn't stop them sending a helicarrier to assist the team during the whole Ultron thing. Prior to that, S.H.I.E.L.D. would regularly find ways to indirectly or directly assist the team. Captain America even worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. for a while before it was compromised. If the Justice League ever came to town, you can totally bet your allowance that the citizens of the world would stand behind the Avengers in full force, ready to throw down if need be and offer any aid and first aid. On the flip side of the argument, many people in the DC universe are afraid of their protectors or simply don't quite understand them. When you compare the New York incident to that of Super versus Zod, it's clear that the people and local authorities are definitely on Team Avengers, giving them a further edge in the larger conflict. Secret weapon, ant-sized. Ant-Man may not be a fan favorite yet, but he would prove to be extremely valuable during a conflict against the Justice League. Just look at how he handled himself during the airport scene in Captain America Civil War. Being able to shrink himself down to the size of an ant, Ant-Man is virtually invisible to many of the warriors on the battlefield.
It's okay. You can't see me.
He can jump on over to someone's shoulder and completely knock them out with his super strength, and they wouldn't even see it coming. Furthermore, he can cripple any gadget Batman is carrying from the inside, much like what he did against Iron Man. Only we don't see Bruce Wayne putting those kinds of fail-safes in his utility belt. Without any of his gadgets, Batman becomes incredibly vulnerable to attack, and aside from his hand-to-hand combat skills, is largely ineffective in the kind of fight that would be going on here. From there, he'd use a similar technique against Cyborg, taking him completely out of the fight. When he's done, all he can in his mini form, Scott Lang can then transform from Ant-Man into Giant Man and really start wrecking shop. This is where he can provide assistance to the team, either by chucking large objects to various members of the Justice League, causing an opportune distraction, or he can whack the League around the battlefield like a ping-pong ball. That kid from Queens. It wouldn't be the Avengers without Spider-Man. Peter Parker is returning to cinemas soon with the release of Homecoming, but we're already looking forward to his role in the first part of the Infinity War. In the event of the Justice League coming to town and wanting to throw down with the Avengers, Spider-Man would prove to be a very useful ally. His Spidey sense would definitely allow him to block many of the attacks that would come his way, and he can tie up a lot of the opponents in such a way that would make their attacks pretty much useless. Binding their arms, legs, or torsos would be pretty hard for any overpowered Justice Leaguer to break out of, and any time spent not focused on the attack is another moment where someone else can knock the living daylights out of their distracted heads. He can also set up traps. With the help of the rest of the Avengers, they can lure a member like Aquaman around a corner and into a giant spider web, trapping him much like how Frodo was in The Return of the King. Difference here is that Spider-Man's webbing is way stronger than that spider's and would make life extremely difficult for any trapped opponent. Spider-Man also has some wicked fighting moves that would certainly make him a tough opponent. Nimble, quick, and full of surprises, Spider-Man always has plenty of tricks up his sleeve that not too many people would be able to see coming. Thor and Hulk, tag team for the ages. Superman often gets compared to being a god, with his near indestructible body and amazing powers that have helped him save the Earth countless times by now. But in the end, he's not a god, he's simply an alien from another planet who just happens to look like a human. Step in Thor, an actual god from Norse mythology who has magical abilities and centuries of battle experience. With the combined strength of his hammer Mjolnir, which is made in the heart of a dying star, and his shocking powers, Thor can incapacitate most of the Justice League with ease. Heck, Aquaman is in serious trouble against Thor. Batman's gonna have to find a way to make sure his gadgets don't short circuit on him as well. And Superman has been known to be weak against magical attacks. If things start getting too intense though, such as when Wonder Woman and Superman decide to tag team the God of Thunder, Thor merely has to call for backup in the form of a giant green rage monster. Yep, we saved this card for last. Thor's gladiatorial buddy is the strongest being in the entire Marvel universe. The angrier he becomes, the stronger he gets, and with Superman shooting annoying laser beams at the Hulk, you know he's gonna get furious. You thought the end fight in Man of Steel was destructive? Well, Hulk taking on either Superman or Wonder Woman might end up leveling a small country. In the end, Hulk may struggle alone against these two DC giants, but with the help of his gladiatorial buddy Thor, the balance tips in favor of the Avengers here. There you have it, folks. So, who do you think would really win in a make-believe showdown between these two comic book teams? Justice League may be strong, but does brawn always win, or does quick thinking and strategy take the cake? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. And of course, the answer to our trivia question is...